So page 7 is a pretty big concept that I want you to give yourself a few weeks to get familiar with this, but I do want you to memorize this. This is a great concept to be familiar with, whatever instrument you play, whatever style of music that you play, okay? So if you look at it, from left to right, the chromatic scale has 7 letter names, meaning it's just A through G. That's 7 letters, okay? Remember, there's no H, I, J. We're done at that point. In between every 2 adjacent letter names, we have a sharp, which is displayed by a number sign or a hashtag, and we have a flat, which is the little b. In between every 2 adjacent notes, except for B to C and E to F, those go directly to the next note without a sharp or flat in between. Now, I should mention you will see B sharp at times, you will see an E sharp or an F flat at times, but it's this same exact sound. It's just a different, it's what we call an inharmonic spelling. I don't want to confuse you with that. But as we go up a string, the way this works is every one of these note names represents a fret on the guitar, and you'll see this on page 8 when we get there. But let me just walk you through it. So if this is the open A string, and if you look on the chromatic scale, you can see the A there on the far left. If I put my first finger down on the first fret, I'm now playing the note A sharp or B flat. You don't know which it is until you see the actual music notated. Okay, and we'll get into that much later in the book, how you write the A flat, or the B flat or the A sharp. But again, this is A sharp, the second fret would be B. The third fret, there's no B sharp. It goes directly to C. Okay, so this is from B to C. Then we have C sharp or D flat, D, D sharp or E flat, E, F. Again, that's our other area where it goes directly from E to F without an E sharp or an F flat. F sharp or G flat, G, G sharp or A flat, and then again at the 12th fret, it's our 13th note, so it's A again, okay? It restarts the cycle if I was to keep going up. So this is something you want to memorize. This applies to any instrument, whether it's any type of music that's based off of the Western European music system. We have 12 notes total. From Metallica to Mozart, it's some combination of these notes. Other cultures have more complex systems. India, some Middle Eastern musical systems might have up to 22 notes. So that's why it sounds so cool and exotic to our ears when we hear it. But we're concerned with these 12 notes, okay? But these 12 notes, we have to be familiar with the ways that they're written, the equivalencies, which gives us 17 total, right? As far as the A sharp, B flat, C sharp, D flat. And again, later, as you progress, depending how far you get with music, you might see double flats, double sharps. You might see the B sharp, the C flat, the E sharp, the F flat. But for now, I want you to just be concerned with just these notes. So remember, it's from A to G. Everything has a sharp and a flat in between them, except for B to C and E to F. If you play piano, it's easier to see this because you can see the clear spacing of where the white keys are and then the black keys in between being the sharps or flats. It's very easy. On the guitar, it's a little bit harder to really understand the fretboard, and I do have that written out for you on page 8. So let's talk about tuning. Most of you are going to use a tuner, and I'm going to have another video on how to use a tuner. But let's talk about how we would tune the guitar using the chromatic scale in the meantime, okay? A couple terms I want you to know. Sharp and flat can refer to actual notes. Like I said before, this is an A sharp or a B flat. But we also use that if I say, hey, you're tuned too high, your B string is sharp, come down a little, or whatever. So that we use that term. If someone's sharp, it means they're playing a little bit too high or it's tuned a little bit too high, right? Sometimes people say that sax player plays too sharp. And then if it's flat, you're a little bit too low, okay? So these are terminologies both for note identification and note naming, and then also for tuning and just the tone of a pitch, if you're sharp or flat, okay? But let me explain how this works with one of the most basic methods to tune the guitar. So let's say that I've tuned the low E using a tuner or a tuning fork or some kind of reference pitch. Let's assume that this is in tune, right? Just because the string is named E doesn't mean it's an E. We have to tune it, okay? It can be out of tune, so it has to be in tune to E. So let's assume this is in with E because I've tuned it. Now, the next string above it is called A, okay? If we count up on the E string, we can find another A on the E string. So check it out. E, F, F sharp or G flat, G, G sharp or A flat, and then A. So I found an A on the 5th fret of the low E string. If you press in straight, don't bend, because if you Don't press in just straight with nice pressure, nice posture, which we'll get into later. The string can bend a little bit and be a little out of tune. We don't want that. But basically, you're going to compare this note, this A on the 5th fret of the low E, to the open A string. And they should sound the same. You shouldn't really hear too much of waves or oscillation or beating of the two different frequencies against each other. It should be nice and smooth. Okay, so this is A and A. Now, if we repeat the process on the A string, it's going to be A sharp, B, C, C sharp, and then D again. Okay, and these should be pretty much more or less the same. Okay, then the same process on the D string, D, D sharp, E flat, E, F, F sharp, G. Now here you're going to hear a little bit of what we call a timbral difference, which is the quality of the sound is the timbre, because the G on the nylon string guitar is a nylon string, whereas the D string, it's nylon on the inside, but it's wound on the outside with metal. So even if it's the same pitch, it sounds just a little bit different. But again, holding your guitar, you shouldn't feel a lot of sound waves beating together. It should feel nice and smooth, all of these. I want you to tune a little bit slower than that, more cautiously. When you get to the G string, you have to be careful. This was 5, this was 5, this was 5. The G string, we're going to count up. We're going to reach the B, which is our next string, on the 4th fret. Okay, so it goes G, G sharp, A sharp, B. So here we tune the 4th fret of the G string to the B. Now let's say, what happens if it's a little bit out of tune? Let's say that my B is a little bit sharp. Hear those, the waves now? Again, you just follow the string, okay? You're going to see it comes to the 2nd tuning peg here. And again, remember, as I loosen it, it goes down. As I tighten it, goes up. Okay, so you've just got to compare it. It's sharp. Still sharp. And you come down until it gets a little bit, really smooth, until it's much harder to hear any differentiation between the two pitches, any difference. Until they're just kind of right in there. Okay? On the B string, our next string would be the high E. So you'd count up B, C, C sharp, D flat, D, D sharp, E flat, and E. Okay, now this is just one way to tune. It's a beginning way to tune, but it's a good way to start tuning in addition to using your tuner, your clip-on tuner, which I'll talk about in another video. I don't tune that way, meaning that I use a variety of different methods, but that's a great way to start out learning how to tune, and it's a great way to see the application of the chromatic scale, which is what we're going to get into on page 8.